Father, we want to thank you for another day. Thank you for your sunshine. Thank you for your rain. Thank you for whatever is going on in your universe and it's coming down to earth, that our earthly vessels will receive it. We know we live in a world and we live in a world system, but we are not of this world. We are in this world, but not of this world, because you are our spirit. Thank you for us, your spirit, Lord. Thank you that our soul will resonate with your spirit. And as I give this word and I pass on the word that you pass on to me, that it will enlighten the people and open up the eyes of their understanding. And it will also enlighten me. I do not take it lightly. I thank you, God, that we are truly learning how to walk and put on the fullness of the armor of you. You are our armor, and we wear it, and you cover us with it every day as we stay conscious to our natural habitat. You will keep on covering our spiritual habitat. And it is so. In Jesus' name we pray. We're going to talk about the breastplate today, the breastplate of righteousness. And everybody always hear, oh, the breastplate of righteousness. And as we said last week, that the armor, the pattern of how God has laid it out, is not just a way of seeing it in a natural way or a physical suit. Some people will use the knight shining armor as, oh, I'm putting on my armor, and we use it as a cliche or something that we say we're doing but don't know what we're doing. But the armor has to actually do with your physical mindset. First is spiritual. Let me help you out with that. Everything is spiritual. But then once it becomes spiritual, your soul has to actually be resonated with the spirit. So your soul and the spirit must work together. But because we know so much, because we're in the 40% of growing, 40% is your old thinking, what you grew up, what your beliefs were, because that has been mixed with the renewing of your mind. Right? Jesus said, be ye transformed and renewing of the mind. We always walk back in our 40 trying to mix it. The renewing is the mix of the 60. We're supposed to be using 60% of our cellular memory, but we always go back with it, with our 40. And this is why when we say the armor of God, and we don't see it working. This is why, or we see something come in, especially the salvation, the helmet of salvation. Oh my goodness. That helmet of salvation is so key, so important. Ephesians 4 said, and when I said the renewing of your mind, we have it on Romans 12:2 and Ephesians 4:23. But it was on the unity and the maturity in the body of Christ. And I'll say it again. When you read Ephesians 4, it's about the unity and the maturity of the body of Christ. You cannot walk maturely until your mind is healed and your mind is renewed. You cannot be unified if you have a separate mindset. So the mindset has to be of Christ, not of man. So it's in the renewing of it that we could walk in Christ and not in men. So I just wanted to plug that in, and when you have time today, you actually can read Ephesians 4 and Romans 12, this whole chapter, living as children of light, and it also brings down in Ephesians 4. So you'll see a lot of that. The armor was produced by God talking to each of us, the bondservant, the mother and father, the children, the bondservant, and what everybody's duty is. So he didn't leave out one person's duty. This was for everybody. So you can't say, as it says, they use this scripture, and it's a phrase of how the hand can't say, I don't need the body. The foot can't say, I don't need the leg. Everybody works together for the good. His purpose is to work together for the good. And just as the purpose of the armor, we learned that, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. So that's why I said your spirit. And what is his spirit? Holy. So with his spirit being holy, you do not wrestle against flesh and blood. We see, but against principality, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age. And we talked about what was rulers of the darkness of this age. Anything or anybody that's in authority now passes down on how you think, how you see things, and who now becomes your God. So these things right here, the same pattern God has used, the same pattern above of him talking to children, because we're first children. He identified the children because in his eyes, we are all children. Then he talked about the mother and father. Then he talked about the servants, because we are all servants. Then the master. So just like this same principalities, powers, rulers of darkness against spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places or high places. These things right here is the same thing that Satan has his patterns, and God was showing you of how we are going to handle this particular pattern. So this is why how he laid it out and he used it. So today, we're going to talk about the breastplate. The breastplate of, hold on. No, I don't want you to restart. Okay, so the breastplate of righteousness. Let's talk about righteousness. What is righteousness? I won't put nobody on the spot. I'll just break it down. If you was in class, I would think, but we still are going to have a conversation. Righteousness is the quality of being moral, right, or justifiable. I am going to look at my Greek meaning. It is a code of ethics of how you carry yourself. I was talking to Jonice yesterday, and I said, I felt so good paying my bills that it was making sure everything is gone, everything is paid up. That is your integrity. I put a post, I think, yesterday, it's about authenticity. And I was talking about authenticity. Our authenticity has to do with our integrity of who we are. Now, you could be authentic in your own way, but true authenticity, and let me read that for y'all. True authenticity has to do with your righteousness. your ethics. You can say anything. You can do anything. But it's okay, you can say anything, let's say it like that. But it's what you do that is important. It wasn't on that tablet. I have two, y'all, I have two doggone things that I be loading and saving. So if it ain't in one, it's in the other. I get confused sometimes. I'm like, okay. All right. So authenticity, let you write this down. Authenticity requires vulnerability, transparency, and integrity. I'm going to say it again. It requires vulnerability, transparency, and integrity. When you're not walking in those things, guess what? You're not being authentic to you or anyone else. It first comes with you. So when the breastplate of righteousness is a quality of moral rights or justifiable, you would never have to justify yourself when you're in the breastplate, or when you're walking in the breastplate of righteousness and you have on that armor, because guess what? It has already been shown of who you are. When I go pay my bills, the bill collector use that. Look how man used your credit. You know what credit is? It's integrity. This is why I'm fixing it. This is why I'm making sure everything's paid on time. Because, again, when man look on the outside of you, they want to see how much I can trust you, how much I can actually how much I can give you, because your ethical behavior says it. Your righteousness says it. So now we're going to look at the Greek real quick for righteousness. It means here, the original word is D-I-K-A-I-O-U. I'm sorry, D-I-K-A-I-O-F-U-N-E. D-I-K, D as in Diana, I as in ice, K as in kite, A-I-O, S as in Sam, U as in up, N as in Nancy, E as in Eddie. Don't ask me to pronounce it. It's dichotomone. They have it broken down in phonics. Dichotomone, and that's what righteousness means. So the strong meaning of righteousness is iniquity of character or act. The Strong's Dictionary breaks down the Greek meaning of the Hebrew meaning of it, and that's your iniquity of character or act. Specifically Christian, it is justification, righteousness. So that means that he has judged. You're walking in justification, so he has justified you. That is your righteousness. The Thayer definition will be, Thayer's definition is in a broad sense, state of him who is as he ought to be. Righteousness, the condition, the condition acceptable to God. Let me say that again. The condition acceptable to God. The doctrine concerning the way in which man may attain and state the approved of God. So this is where God's approval say they are walking in my righteousness. Righteousness has to do with the holiness of the Spirit. In a narrow sense, justice or the virtue which gives each his due. So, those are righteousness. That's righteousness. And when you use it for your breastplate now, it is covering the top of your organ, the higher part, the stomach area, the chest, up to the neck. That is where it's covering. That is a symbolism of the outside of the physical that is supposed to cover. We're now going to talk about the mental aspect and the inside of what it's covering, and the spiritual aspect, the reason why he said to put on the breastplate of righteousness. You'll see today why it was important for that. Scientifically, the body knows anytime my body acts up, anytime my body do something, it's something that I had put such a wear and tear on that it now has to answer. And also, thank you, Lord, the righteousness for this chapter is what I just said, everything it meant. So now, it says, stand therefore, having your loins girded up with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. So now we talk about our loins and we understand why he went down to the lower organ. Because anything that's at the lower organ, you are now, it's a seed, it's actually, that's where everything is planted, reproduction, and then now he goes up to the breastplate of covering some stuff. And I'm going to show you why he covered it in this area. So if everybody has their chart, I don't know why he's going to the front first. Let's start with your front part and then go over to the back. Paula, did you ever get to write down the numbers for the breastplate of righteousness? The breastplate, the top, the back and front, the individual numbers? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, did you get to write them down?
I think the breastplate, right? I think the numbers I have is 5, 6, 7, 8, 15, 16, 17. That's what I wrote down.
That's the front. 5, 6.
That's the front.
Okay, yeah, that's the front and the back. 8. Okay, yeah, all right. Thank you. Okay, I have it here. It's just all right. So the numbers that she just gave y'all, this is where the breastplate is going to play. Matter of fact, go to 4. From 4, this is y'all front. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15. You're going to need 9 too. 15, 14, 16, and 17. Those are our diagrams that we're going to use. We'll call out the back in a second. The back is amazing because the back, you always cover your front and your back. Always cover the front and the back. Never leave your back open. The back is a metaphor of you leaving you unprotected. So your back, when you put on your clothes, remember your clothes cover both front and back. You know, well, you have open back shirts and stuff, but most of our clothes, majority of our clothes cover both the front and the back. But the front and the back means similar things, you know, different things. So we're going to talk about number 4, where it now covers from your shoulder. It starts from your shoulder. And on the right side of your shoulder in the front says determined when given, defensive when given advice. That's the right, and the left is underserving, not acknowledged. So with the breastplate of righteousness, look at that. This is the shoulder that the breastplate has to sit on physically. Figuratively, with God now speaking of our shoulder, who's supposed to be, the Bible says, what is supposed to be on our shoulder? Or who is supposed to be on the shoulder of the people? Okay, so let me help you out with that. Okay, I want y'all to go to Isaiah chapter 9. All right, Isaiah 9 says, we're going to target back to verse 6, but I'm going to show you why he said this. Nevertheless, there will be no more gloom. Isaiah was one of the prophets. He's one of the major prophets. And major and minor prophets mean, minor means they had a small book. It's not the actual act of their being a prophet. It's a smaller book. They had different tasks. So minor prophets is smaller books. Major prophets is bigger books. That's what that means. There are some that carry a different anointing, but they're still all same messengers. So no, there's no big I, no little U's. Everyone's the same in God's eye. So Isaiah was one of the chosen ones, and he was pretty young, and he said he was a man of unclean tongue. If it was like, I'm laughing because if Isaiah may have cussed, he might have had a cussing demon or something. I'm just making this up. But, he just felt like he wasn't worthy. But in Isaiah, he now speaks of Jesus. Every book in the Bible was a metaphor of identifying Jesus. A lot of us don't know that. He was talked about from the old to the new. From the old to the new. From the beginning to the end, he was spoke about. You just have to see the riddles of what he's saying. Because he never mentioned Jesus in here, but that's who he was talking about. And this is why we apply it to our lives, because everything is in a metaphor. Everything is like a figurative way of speaking. And he said, nevertheless, there will be no more gloom for those who were in distress. In the past, he humbled the land of Zebulun and the land of Nephtali. So if I said it wrong, the pronunciation is wrong. Excuse me, but that's how I'm pronouncing it for now. But in the future, he will honor Galilee of the nation by the way of the sea beyond the Jordan. So now, another symbolism of Jordan, another symbolism you might want to write is Jordan. When you cross over Jordan, you cross over your change. So Jordan is a symbolism of change. The Galilee, look, this is the Old Testament. So now they marry it into from the Old Testament. Where did he come? He came from Galilee. Jesus, if you do your history, I have a book, and if anybody is interested, I can send it to you. It's a pretty long book, but the history of the Bible, and it breaks down every like country and all that, even Bethel, Bethlehem. All that, it breaks down. Bethel is not far from Bethlehem, where Jacob made the altar. An altar is a promise. An altar, when you go to the altar, is a promise. It's a layout of you remembering. So that's your remembrance between you and God. The people walking, so now listen to this. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned. So what did we talk about a couple weeks ago about the light bearer being Lucifer? So it shows right there again in the light bears what the darkness is hiding. I'm going to say it again. The light bearer is what the darkness is hiding. And he says it right here in Isaiah, how the light has dawned. So those living in a land of deep darkness, a light has dawned. It has shined on it to show. You have enlarged the nation and increased their joy. And the way this is written, once again, this is a poem. This is a poem. When you see poems and you write, it's in a layout of a poem, but it's the heart of God. It's actually God speaking from his heart. As people rejoice at the harvest, as warriors rejoice when dividing the plunder, for as in the days of Midian defeat, you have shattered the yoke that burdened them, and the bar across their shoulder, the rod of their oppressor. So God is speaking from his heart using Isaiah. When we prophesy from the heart of God. Whatever God is going through, of wanting the people to know, that's what prophecy does. So Isaiah, remember, was a prophet. So he's now speaking in a third party of the heart of God. And now, verse 4 says, this is chapter 9, verse 4, for as in the days of Midian, remember, we need a fact. And look at Midian. What was going on in Midian? Defeat. So obviously it was a fight. You have shattered the yoke, the burdens, yoke that burdened them, and the bar across their shoulder, the rod of their oppressor. Every warrior, and okay, so I'm going to go back to burdens. Burdens is whatever has tormented you, carry you. Do you know that a disease could be a burden? Because now it's now more uncomfortable than your everyday life, your everyday thing. So that's where the burden comes in. I want to change, hold on, this translation, okay, of it. Okay, because I was in the New International Version. They've taken out a lot. Okay, so we're going to go back to verse 5. It said, the boots of the warrior and the uniform blood strand by the warrior will be burnt. They will be fuel for the fire. And now, verse 6, this is something we use for Christmas all the time, but we don't understand. This is why the breastplate is first starting with the shoulder. Because chapter 9:6 says, for the child is born to us. So God loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son. A son is given to us. So the child is born, look at the pattern, and the child becomes a son. The son becomes a father. I don't know if anyone likes to watch Marvel comics like I do. I love Marvel comics. And it's DC. This one is DC. Because Superman, they said, for the son, the child becomes the son, and the son becomes the father. That was Isaiah. A lot of these superhero movies, especially Marvel comics, DC throws it in sometime too. A lot of the quotes come from out the Bible. So do you see, many times we could quote the Bible, but we don't have to say what it is. And in many DC comic movies and Marvel comic movies, the Bible is so quoted. Green Lantern, Bible quotes. I heard it on, it was Avengers the other day. So the Bible's quoted all the time. They're using the principles. But we don't know it and see it, and they're using it. That's why they're so successful. So now, the Son is given to us. The government will rest on his shoulder, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. His government and its peace will never end. So your shoulders is where we try to carry the weight of life, the weight of things. So now when your shoulders become heavy, this is where you look at it, defensive when given advice. Underserving, not acknowledged. So look at that. We're being defensive when we're supposed to take that. And you're not underserving of being acknowledged. You want to be acknowledged. I'm talking to everyone, not, anyone personally. But we want to be acknowledged. And this is why we become underserving, not acknowledged. But the Father has to be acknowledged. Because government, Jesus, shall be on our shoulder. So when we try to defend, when we're giving, especially when we're giving advice, I am one that try my best not to throw off what a person is saying. Yesterday, somebody put a video on Facebook of a person, an acquaintance I know, and as many of you know, and many might not know that's on here, I am very big on religious dogma and how things are done repetitiously and religiously, and I try not to practice that. But when I see it, I load it. I think the word is load, but I'm not. It turns me off. I automatically. Wow, I'm sorry. I just had a flashback that, okay, I'm going to share this real quick. That's where I stopped. I had a flashback that I had a dream, I think, that the light bulb on my light has went out. Something, yeah. So I think that's why I'm suffering with my throat right now and whatever hit me, because God just showed me something went out, a light went out. Okay, so that's a metaphor for me. But when the person put it on there, I went and looked at it, and never blame Facebook. I'm going to tell y'all, stop blaming Facebook on what they post on there, because you choose to go look at it. So I went and let a side of me go look at it, go actually look at and I did it with the wrong intention of going to look at that video. And for me, I went to look at it to find a fault. My 40% wanted to find a fault, instead of actually picking up the 60% of what the person would have been saying and seeing it on how it could be applied, the first thing I hear is the religiousness in it. And I'm trying to deal with myself in that area because I truly have a problem with church people. At first it was the African Americans. I'm good now. I'm good. I love African Americans. I love every person there is, but I am actually doing better now, because every time you heal in an area, there's going to be another area going to say, hey, so you heal from that. Let me help you with this one. They'll always come and knock you at the door. And how you tell it's knocking at the door is what your intentions of you doing something. You always open it up unconsciously. So I don't know who I'm talking to and need to hear this, but you open it up unconsciously, and when you open it up, it now have you give the devil a toehold, and he'll make it into a foothold. That's just a paraphrase of a scripture. So I gave him the toehold. I went and watched the video, knowing I do not care right now for that type of lesson or teaching or preaching or commentary. I don't even watch TBN. I don't watch TBN. I don't watch any of the channels on the Christian network because of my mindset right now of the change of out of the 40 into the 60. But I went and watched it, and I had such judgment on it. To when I was finished judging it, God got on me. Defensive. And it's because especially when we know a person so well, we cannot receive a person. We must learn how to separate the person from the message. Everybody has a message. Everybody has a way of delivering their message. So we have to separate the person from the message and take it in for the greater good. That's what the Pharisees and Sadducees did. I didn't do no different than the Pharisees and Sadducees, and it's to shut it down or to become defensive of a message that somebody might need or I could have applied. I didn't even look at the whole thing because I don't like this type of delivering a message till I went and skipped over it. So I might have missed something important, but that's where we have to be careful on our shoulder. We take things on, and we now make a decision on it. Number 5, wanting or underserving of nurture by dad and or men. Then that's your right side. Your left side now is wanting and underserving of nurture by women, men and women. I am going to also do the back too. So I'm going to cover the back and the front with this. And matter of fact, I just remembered I didn't cover the front with your gird up your loins, but we'll go to that next week. But I'm going to do back and front today. So the back of your breastplate is also number 5 and 6, 7. I'm sorry, mine. I don't know how y'all look, but I'm looking at the printed one, and it's not in color. 8, 9, 10, 11, 18. Okay, so let's go to the shoulder on the back. The shoulder on the back says controlled by others, pleasing others, and that's the left-hand side. The right-hand side is controlling others and self. So look at that. Your right side of your shoulder in the back, when you look at the right side of your shoulder in the front, where it's number 4, defensive when giving advice on the right for the front, but the back is saying that controlling others and self. So that makes a lot of sense. If you are out of control, you're defensive. You're being defensive. You're being defensive of it. That means that your defense is down and your offense is up. Your defense, for you football players, is down and your offense is up. You're imbalanced. So now you have the left side says controlled by others and pleasing others. So you're running around trying to please others because your front is saying under serving, not acknowledge. So you're always trying to, or you end up wanting to be acknowledged in the front because the back of you is saying that I want to please others. I want some people, not even some. Thank you, Lord. Okay. Pleasing others allow others to control you. Pleasing others for the wrong intention, for the wrong motives, and I talked to somebody about this this week, pride. Pride. When you run around, you want to pay for their love, pay for their this, pay. You don't have to pay in monetary money. You pay a lot of pastors and leaders that are, and many that's listening to this conversation. What happens is that a lot of pastors, there's two things. They're either way on the far left by not receiving that they need someone to tell them, if they're right or they're wrong. They become defensive because they now are they don't know how to please themselves. So you have them pastors that try to please the people. So now the pastors that try to please the people, they're unbalanced. They're way over to the left or they're way over to the right. But now that becomes abusive. And then now it's abusive to yourself or abusive to the people. And government cannot sit on your shoulder actually acting that way. So we must be careful with that. We must know. We must know even when pride is coming in. So let's go now back to the back. We talked about the shoulder in the front, the back of the shoulder, the back of the where it says the breastplate is number 5. Number 5 is blaming self. Look at that, how all that works. Wow, all this is working together. Blaming self, blamed by others, blaming others. That's 5. And that has to do with, and look, number 3 through 5 falls right in all that category. Guilt, right side says, self-guilt, made to feel guilty, see others as guilty. What did I say happened yesterday? When I was looking at the video, I'm like sitting up there looking at self-guilt, made to feel guilty, and see others guilty. When we judge, we already put them in their guilt. We already have justified what they've done and how guilty they are for what they've done. Number 3, left side said blaming self, blamed by others, blaming others. So this is all we carry on our shoulder. This is a part of our shoulder. That's the back of it. And it all is working together because when we go back to look at number 5 of it, it coming down, we're wanting or wanting or underserving of nurture of one of the parents. So now this is why we see things the way we do. You got to talk to your 40. So now it comes down to the middle of your chest, and that's number 6 in the front. Holding self back can't express your love. That's your right. Holding self back can't express your love on your left. So what is the back saying about this? Why is it you're holding yourself back? So let's go to the back of it. That same place in the back, it will be number 6. Number 6, responsible for everything that happens, and responding to blame. So number 6 on your right hand side, so you're saying I'm responsible for everything that happens. I hold everything, government, everything is on. I govern everything, not God. I am responsible for the earthquake in China. I'm going to blame myself for what I must have done that the earthquake in China happened. You have people out there that's actually like that. They find everything to blame themselves about. I like watching The Green Arrow. And one thing about the Arrow, he's a vigilante and he's trying to make the city right. So he fights different crimes, major crimes and stuff. Every time something happens to the people that's working with him, guess who he blames? Himself. And this happens because you ever heard the saying, misery love company? That's our company. It's a comfort. We use it as a comforting tool to feel better. And it's crazy. It sounds crazy, but it's the truth. We feel better when we feel that we have to put the blame. This is another way of feeling better, because other people feel better in administrating pain or receiving pain. So we're now finding the pain body, something that we can now relate to, actually carry, and this makes you justifiable. Oh, so I blame myself, so, no one else can blame me. I blame myself because I really feel I'm unworthy, undeserving, all these different things. So you find a way of blaming yourself. A person that apologizes continuously deals with guilt. Blaming has a lot to do with guilt. It says it right there. Seeing things guilty, seeing the person guilty, seeing yourself guilty. So that's where the blaming comes from, is the guilt. Get rid of the guilt and you'll get rid of the blame. And then now God can work. So everybody understand that part? Is there any questions on that? We're still on the shoulder, around the shoulder. And look, when I say in number 6, I'm sorry, not on the shoulder, number 6, 6 is in the center of the front, and then the body is in the back, right there in the back of the body, by your spine, both sides, because it's so both of it's covering. So now we go down to number 7, and number 7 is hopelessness. Both sides have hopelessness. So when those areas are weak, find out what you've been hoping for, and have you actually, because you've put yourself in guilt, your hopelessness now has kicked in, and what you're hopefully you so want to become victorious You become hopeless because of this. Oh, well, maybe if I didn't sleep with this guy with AIDS, I wouldn't have AIDS today. I wouldn't have this. Oh, if I would have went ahead and finished high school. And I'm going to tell you now that's one thing that resonates in my mind. That's the 40% that comes and visit me. The 40% likes to look at I'm talking about me in general. My 40% will look at everyone and say, oh, look at, especially when you have oil and gas people, you have lawyers that comes in your car, and you're like, see, if you would have finished school, you would have been making money like them. You would have been happy like them. So now I feel guilty that I didn't finish school. And then now it would turn out to be shame, because when a person talks to you, say, I used to do this, I don't do this anymore. Oh, I didn't finish school. You know, I'm not worthy of this because I didn't finish school. Underserving. So we find things to make us feel better. With me saying that, it made me feel better, and it justified why I didn't finish school. So now when I didn't do what I accomplished, and it takes my guilt away, pride. Pride helps to take the guilt away. Pride helps to take the shame away. So holding self back, expressing your love. So that's that was number 6. We're on number 7, hopelessness now. So hopelessness is in the middle. So now we'll look at number 9 and 10. It's heartbreak, fear, the abuse of love. Everything is a victim, fear of doing. That's your back. So what do hopelessness do? It brings you fear. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to participate in that because I'm too fearful. And a lot of times I do go through that. I have opportunities opening the door, and the first thing that misery comes and tell me, hey, remember you don't have your high school diploma? You remember you don't have your GED? Remember that you didn't finish college? You tried to do all that? They're not going to take you. They're not going to accept you. Why are you trying? All that feeds you. And this is the reason why the breastplate of righteousness is so important. Because all this is feeding the front of the organs in your body. Your organs, your heart is on the left side. Your heart, your liver, your kidney. Every one of your organs functions for a reason. Your kidney is to get rid of the toxin. That's why you pee. It get rid of the toxic waste in your body, the back. That's why you move your bowels. So the body automatically is working with the universe and working with God, because it's going to change. It's going to cooperate. But it's us that's stuck in it that we won't cooperate. The front of number 8 says, heart shielded from love. Love is pain. Heart shielded from love. Love is pain. So the center is your shield. Breastplate. Righteousness. The liver, I'll tell you what the liver does. This is why we have to know fully of all these functions. So you meet somebody now that said, I need a liver. Okay. The liver is the cardiovascular system. Can you look and see where the liver is? I think it's in the middle of the body, if I'm not mistaken, or below. With the help of the vitamin K, the liver produces protein that are important in the blood clot. Important. Listen to this. Listen how God. Oh my goodness, He is so strategic. I love my Father. He does things like whoa. Okay, so listen to this. The liver produces protein that are important in the blood clotting. The blood clotting. In Jamaica, we used to use the word, it's a bad word, but Paula should know it, blood clot. And when you say that, you might as well just kill a person, because that is one of the most discreditable thing you can, or disgracing thing you could say to a person in Jamaica. And I'm looking, it says important in the blood clotting. Because when you get clots of blood, your blood is not flowing. You want the blood to flow. Cynthia, did you look it up, or can you hear me or not?
Yes, it's above the
above the ribs. Okay. Okay.
Like
so
between the stomach and diaphragm.
Okay. So as you see, number 8, that has to do with your liver. The heart shield from love is painful. So the clotting is that you're not releasing the love within God. You're not releasing your love. You're holding on to something. The liver plays a center role in all metabolic processes in the body. In the fat metabolism, the liver cells break down fat and produce energy. So if you're very weak and everything, that means you need to check your heart shielding from love and what was painful to you, that the liver is not functioning correctly, or the center in the middle of your chest is acting up. Something you're fighting off. So number 10, remember, everyone is a victim. So that is right there in the center between number 9 and 10. If you see people, 9, heartbreak, fear the abuse of love. So right there, it's saying that you don't want to be heartbroken because you're fearing the abuse of love. So now you can't function correctly in the front because your heart shielded from love, because love is pain. So now when you see someone say, oh, I have liver cancer, oh, I'm dealing with my liver, the flow. What did we talk about last week? About how we will pray for a person. The flow of that whole thing right there. It actually it helps you. How do I target my prayer, Lord? How do I want, how do I target this to help another person? Your body speaks to you. We're the one that actually ignore it. And that's why it becomes so toxic that we now have to go to a doctor and them taking it out. So now, let's go to 14. 14 goes in the middle of your spleen, your at the bottom, and it says letting go of control. Letting go of control. This is the breastplate we're talking now, of righteousness. So who's supposed to be in control? So when you see, oh, I'm anxious in my stomach, Oh, I have anxiety. I got a few times yesterday. I've been going through this for the past few weeks now. A fear of driving been coming over me. And I think it started when the lady actually hit the side of my car. And I saw it there. I still see it there. It's like I'm scared to change lanes and stuff. And this gut thing comes in my gut, the feeling of my stomach, in the pit of my stomach. And that's because I still want to I want to be in control, and I'm not trusting God. So it's like, okay, I have to get over this, because this is one of the things I do to make money is to drive. So let's see what the back of my was saying, because look, in the front, the stomach has the chest has an open thing to pour into you. So nothing is blocking it, but the back has the middle where something is blocking it in the middle, and that's your spine. So now, but the back is now saying number 11 and 13. So 11 says shame. And on the right, it says not good enough. And number 13 says wanting to be someone else, worrying about everything on the right. So one of the things I was worried about is about people's driving, and that makes sense. I was worried about the driving and worrying about everything. My left side want to be someone else. I definitely want to stop Ubering. I can understand that. And the 11, the shame and not good enough. Because sometimes I feel like I'm not a good driver. I'm like, I've been driving since I was like 20. Started at 16 to practice. But because there's certain things that can knock down your feelings, your thoughts, and can throw you off balance. So I now know, and with me talking about it, guess what I'm doing? I'm getting back on balance. So now you could defeat the fear of the enemy, because I am righteous and I have on my righteous clothing. 15, 14. Okay, so we just did 14, and 15 says anxiousness. Makes a lot of sense. That gut in your stomach, anxiousness. We talked about that. And then now suppressing the rage. Suppressing his rage, sadness, and bitter. We must learn how to find an outlet of releasing our feeling in our heart. In the back it says self-sabotage, because when you suppress your rage, you're going to sabotage yourself. Not enough abundance. So look, self-sabotage stops you from getting the abundance that you need, and that's the back. And the back, we're under 15. 15 also mean a metaphor of resurrection. So when you see the number 15, think of resurrecting. There's some things in you might need to resurrect out of you. It needs to leave, and doesn't need to attach itself, but actually leave the mind that's controlling the body. The back, now it says so we're going to stop there, because that we're talking about girding up your loins with truth on that. We're going to stop there. Right there, did everybody see the things that you can carry mentally that's now blocking the things physically? Now, let's go back to anxiousness. You owe a bill collector. the breastplate of righteousness. We're still talking about righteousness. You owe a bill collector. Bill collector call. You don't have the money. What do? You either ignore the phone call. Some people have the kids answer the phone and say they're not there. Or you going to scream at the bill collector asking them why they're calling you. Because you're going through all this and going through all the turmoil of what you're going through. You need for him to feel sorry for y'all, for you, for us. And so he can understand with sympathy, because you throw on the guilt trip. Look at this. Everyone that has their chart, what I just said, this is what stops our righteousness. Our intentions stops our righteousness. Our intentions stop the flow, especially going back to the liver, the heart. The heart can't love. The liver can't function correctly. We go back to the things of weight. Your metabolism is off because we have to deal with our righteousness. It might not be the bill collector for you, but it will be something. Find yourself somewhere. And this is why the breastplate has not worked. And cover those parts of your organ because it's something that's missing in this diagram. And they overpower God. We say we trust God, but we don't. We trust him in the sense that we trust him enough to where our mind can take him. Your 40% see God as you. Your 60% let go the image of God being you and letting God be in God. Because he's not going to think the way you think. He's not going to do the things you do. But when you now come out and he say, do this, trust me. Even last night when I got home, I went to bed at 5, y'all. I got home, I did a wash and go on my hair yesterday. So a wash and go, my hair is really tight and curly. It's very curly. And I didn't want it that way. So I kept on hearing, braid your hair, braid it. So when I got home, I went, got the spray bottle, everything, and I was twisting it. And it was like a conviction came over my heart and said, I said, braid it. I'm like, oh, it's not going to look right. Oh, let me look at a YouTube of how the braid's going to look, and this and that. And so I am so used to being in control of what my decisions are. If I do hear that small voice, I actually not justify, I'm trying to say, I argue, that's not the word, but I debate, thank you. I debate with it. And then my other self said, what is it going to hurt if you do braid it? I said, it's your hair. If you don't like it, take it out, wash it, and do it over again. I said, okay. This makes sense. Fear of change. Fear of moving on. Fear, that might be a little thing about a braid and a hair. But it has a lot to do with all aspects of our lives. All aspects of it. And we end up making decisions that takes us into another decade, 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. I don't have a decade. I'm turning 50, I don't have a decade. Another decade to thing. I got to listen now. Listen now. I have to listen now. Because listening now will help me later. So this right here, check your righteousness. Check how you're walking. Check are you being ethical, bill collector. Check if you're if you have a moral standard. I'll pull up moral. You know how people say, wait, moral, okay, moral. Concerned with the principles of right and wrong behavior and the goodness or badness of human character. Moral has to do with the adjective is good, righteousness, upright standing, high-minded, principled, honor, virtuous, for you virtuous women, honesty, just, and it goes on and on and on. It is the holding or manifesting high principles of power, of proper conduct, for proper conduct. Righteousness. What is righteousness? The act of God. For the word, it meant by the act of what is going to please God. So look how moral or manifesting high principles for proper conduct. What this principle means? Law. Principles, where we said we're not in the law. Yes, we're still in the law through Christ, His grace. Principles is the foundation. Truth or proposition that serve as a foundation for a system, belief, or behavior, or for a chain of reasoning. So listen what the principles hold for the moral, for the righteousness. It is a foundational source or base of something. That is the principle. And like I said, the principles, I lost my thought, but it's truth. Principles have to do with truth. Remember, okay, yeah, like I said, law. The law. Truth. Truth, honor, and the American way. I was thinking about, I think it's a DC comment, but concept, idea, theory, those are those principle, assumption, fundamental, essential, ground rule. So the principles have to do with the moral, how you walk morally for your righteousness. So everything works together. The pattern, the principle, the order, everything works together. This is why, again, it is important. You know, what am I going through? Why do I feel that I need to steal the bank's pen? I'm using these little things because Bridget goes through this sometimes. I want their pen. When you become defeated, as I said, you're unconsciously functioning. You are unconsciously functioning. So I make sure I function consciously. I will watch everything I do, everything I say. I listen to what I say. People just talk. People talks but doesn't listen. I listen before I talk. One of the best speakers that I love to listen to, and next week we're going to talk about the peace on the feet. So we're going to go to your peace on your feet. That's going to be good. One of the people I love to hear speak is Minister Farrakhan. He pauses every other sentence or every sentence. When you speak, pause and allow you to listen to what God is saying, and then you now speak. Now, you're not going to run around, but the Lord said, no. God, I am the Father. I and the Father are one. When you see me, you see the Father. Jesus could not say nothing without the Father. But we say things and do things without the Father. The decisions. If the Father told me to stay home today, I would stay home. He said, it's okay to go out today. All right, it's okay to go out. Every time I try to disobey the Father, something will happen from my disobedience. So this is why Jesus could have flowed so well, not just because he is the Father, it's because he and the Father never separated. The Father was continuously in his heart, continuously in his mouth. He had no hidden agenda in his heart. He had no guilt. He had none of those stuff that we just read off because he was the Father. And he knew his mission. When you don't know your mission, this is when things take you off track. Distractions come from things that is irrelevant because it knows that you like that more than you like the Father's work. Be about the Father's business. So this can conclude our lesson on that. Is there any question? I stopped enough time to see if anybody has any questions or comment about what they learned today. Is everybody there? Okay, no problem. I'm going